Let's move into the predictions for Cancer for the month of May 2026. May arrives bringing a very strong energy of self-knowledge, emotional changes, and especially the way you have been treating yourself. There is an important period of maturity where you begin to realize that some pain does not only come from outside, many times it is born from the way you pressure yourself, judge yourself, and demand too much from yourself. It will also be a month of very strong intuition. Your spirituality is trying to speak to you all the time, through signs, through sensations, through that discomfort that appears out of nowhere, through that sudden desire to change something, through thoughts that seem small but carry big answers. In addition, May brings important movements in love life, work, your relationship with money, and especially your personal value. It is a month of reorganization, of cutting excess, of reviewing people, of changing paths, and mainly of stopping the fight against yourself. Because in many moments, the greatest weight is not in the world. It is in the way you look at your own life. So listen carefully, because some of these predictions may explain exactly what you have been feeling in silence for a long time. Cancer, your reading begins strongly because May does not start by looking at the world around you. It begins by looking inside you. And here there is an important conflict. You enter this month living through a phase where many times your greatest challenge is yourself. There is dissatisfaction with your own behavior, as if in many moments you look at yourself and think, I should have acted differently. I should have been smarter. I should have controlled my emotions better. I should have spoken less. Or maybe I should have spoken more. There is this pressure, this self-criticism, this feeling that you could be handling your own emotional life better. And that weighs heavily because Cancer is naturally already a very sensitive sign, feels deeply, notices deeply, carries deeply. But here the problem is not only in feeling, it is in how you judge what you feel. You pressure yourself for feeling too much. You blame yourself for reacting too much. You punish yourself for not being more rational in certain moments. And the Fox card appears exactly showing that. You trying to be more strategic with your own heart, trying to control what many times simply needs to be embraced. Here there is a very important warning. Be careful not to become your own executioner. What does that mean? It means stopping the internal attacks, stopping turning every mistake into a life sentence, stopping pointing the finger at yourself as if you were always guilty of everything. Because there is a very strong tendency for you to hurt yourself psychologically through the way you see yourself. You condemn yourself, you criticize yourself, you make yourself smaller, you demand beyond what is healthy. And this begins to affect even your spiritual energy, because no one can bloom while living in war against themselves. Here, spirituality asks for something simple but powerful. Treat yourself with more kindness. Look at yourself with more humanity. You do not need to be perfect to deserve peace. You do not need to get everything right to deserve love. You are also learning. You are also going through processes. And sometimes the greatest growth is not in changing everything. It is in stopping the destruction inside yourself. Now there is a second very strong layer in this reading, your spiritual energy and the impact of that on your body. Because when emotions become too heavy, the body responds. And here clear signs appear: headaches, strange tiredness, a feeling of heaviness, light shaking caused by nervousness, a restlessness that you cannot always explain, as if your body were trying to warn you about what your mind insists on ignoring. The Child card appears here, bringing a very important word: purification. You need to cleanse yourself from the inside out. Not only rest, but truly cleanse. Clean thoughts, clean guilt, clean environments, clean relationships. Clean whatever is making your peace sick, because there is too much accumulated stress, too much self-pressure, too much emotional weight being carried as if it were your obligation to hold everything alone, and it is not. Here, spirituality asks for elevation. Everything that improves your vibration needs more space. Prayer, silence, therapy, spiritual practices, walks, moments of peace. Everything that helps you breathe better emotionally needs to stop being treated like luxury and start being treated like priority. Because if your energy is not clean, even your intuition weakens. And your intuition will be one of the most important tools of this month. Now, there is also a practical movement appearing. Some of you will need to resolve something connected to movement and transportation. Bus station, airport, short trip, picking someone up, taking someone somewhere, resolving something connected to transit. It may even be something involving a mechanic, dealership, subway, or any situation involving movement and transportation. And here, the bouquet card brings good news. It will work out. Even if there is worry, even if you think it will be complicated, even if it seems exhausting, the situation gets resolved. So go with peace, with calm, without carrying anxiety before the right time. Because not every movement comes to create chaos. Some come exactly to put life in the right place, and May begins like this, forcing you to look inward so you can walk better outward. Now there is another very important situation that appears strongly, an environment that begins to bother you deeply. And here, we are not necessarily talking about people. We are talking about place, about space, about an environment that has lost the good energy it once had. It may be a gym, a shopping mall, a hospital, a course, a workplace, a place you visit constantly, and that, in some way, has started draining you. You look at it and feel, this is no longer good. This no longer feels right. This no longer gives me peace. It may be poor structure, broken equipment, lack of care, a heavy atmosphere, a feeling of deterioration, or simply that perception that something there no longer vibrates the same way with you. And this starts creating real discomfort. You begin questioning, is it worth continuing to come here? Is it worth insisting on this? Is it worth maintaining this routine? The whip card appears bringing a very direct answer. Respect what you feel. If you do not like it, you do not like it. If it does not feel good, it does not feel good. Not everything needs to be forced. Not every place deserves your permanence. Sometimes insisting out of habit costs more than changing. Here, there is even the possibility of future renovation in this place, changes, improvements, adjustments, but until then, the discomfort is real, and spirituality says, if you can look for another place, do it. If you can step away, step away. If you can choose peace, choose it. Because your well-being cannot be negotiated with environments that are clearly already worn out. Now, there is also an important situation involving a person who will need limits. And this is not an easy person. It is someone with a strong personality, someone who talks too much, who crosses boundaries, who speaks in an inappropriate way, who sometimes enters spaces they should not enter. And you will realize that something needs to be done. You will feel, I need to correct this situation. I need to set limits. I need to make this person understand how far they can go. And this will not be comfortable because you know this person does not like being confronted. You fear the reaction. You fear the comeback. You fear the tension. You fear retaliation. But here, spirituality is very clear. This needs to be done. The ring card appears showing that it will be necessary to establish a new agreement, a new way of coexistence, a new line of respect. And that only happens when someone has the courage to say, up to here. From here forward, no, you will be that person. And despite the initial discomfort, this will bring balance. This person may even get upset at first. They may react badly, they may show resistance, but in the end, the situation improves because some relationships only find peace after boundaries are placed. The problem is not always lack of love. Sometimes it is too much permission. And May teaches you exactly that. Now we enter the most important dates of the month. The 4 situations that gain strength inside your prediction. The first one, between May 1st and May 11th, reinforces everything that has already appeared since the beginning. You need to learn how to be your own friend. The dog card appears very strongly, and it brings a simple but deeply necessary message. You need to stop being the person who hurts you the most. You need to treat yourself with more respect, with more kindness, with more loyalty, because many times if another person spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, you would have already walked away from them. If someone pointed out your flaws all the time, if someone made you feel smaller every day, if someone constantly reminded you of everything you did wrong, you would not tolerate it. So why accept that coming from your own mind? This is a very strong reflection. Because here there is an excess of self-criticism, a tendency to destroy yourself internally, to feel like nothing is ever enough, that it is never good enough, that something is always missing, and that becomes emotionally exhausting. You need to become your own ally, your biggest encourager, your strongest defender. It does not mean ignoring flaws. It means not turning flaws into identity. You make mistakes, everyone does. You fail, everyone does. But that cannot be the reason for abandoning yourself. May begins by teaching you a powerful lesson. The peace you are looking for outside also depends on the way you treat yourself inside. Between May 12th and May 18th, the energy changes and enters strongly into your financial life. But here it does not appear as crisis. It appears as awareness, as if suddenly you wake up with that very clear feeling that something needs to change in the way you deal with money. You know, when you wake up and for no apparent reason begin thinking, I am spending too much on this. I need to organize that better. I need to review this payment. I need to stop ignoring this situation. That is exactly it. The Birds card appears showing that spirituality whispers. It does not scream, it does not force, it whispers. It places the perception inside your mind. It makes that thought return more than once. It makes that discomfort refuse to leave. And here, the message is clear. Listen, do not treat it as paranoia. Do not think it is just something in your head. When this perception insists, there is a reason. Your financial intuition will be very strong. You will notice where the excess is, where the waste is, where the mistake is, where something needs to be reorganized. And if you respect that, the month can change a lot, because many times prosperity does not begin by earning more. It begins by stopping the losses that were unnecessary. Here, spirituality is not speaking only about money. It speaks about responsibility, about maturity, about knowing how to look at your own material life without running away. You will need to take action, cut excess, review commitments, maybe even say no to certain temporary desires. And that will be important because there is a huge difference between deprivation and intelligence. It is not about living without pleasure. It is about not allowing small impulses to destroy great constructions. Now, between May 19th and May 25th, the energy enters strongly into love life. And here something very specific appears. Someone is interfering in the flow of your relationship. It may be a mother-in-law, it may be children, it may be friendship, it may be family, it may even be someone who, without realizing it, creates obstacles between you and the person you love, as if there were a third energy disturbing what should flow more naturally. You feel it. You notice that something gets blocked, that something interferes, that there is always a difficulty exactly when you try to get closer. And here the Scythe card brings an important word: cut. But calm down. Cutting does not mean destroying everything. Cutting means adjusting, separating what serves from what does not, eliminating excess, redefining boundaries. Maybe it is necessary to distance certain influences. Maybe it is necessary to change the way some people participate in your life. Maybe it is even necessary to cut certain thoughts of your own, because in some cases, this interference does not come only from outside. It comes from inside, from the way you compare yourself. From the way you make yourself smaller in front of other people. You look at someone and think, this person is better than me, more beautiful, more interesting, more capable. And without realizing it, you create the obstacle yourself. You hand over your own power. So here there are two types of cutting, the external and the internal. For some, it will be a real person creating problems. For others, it will be their own insecurity. In both cases, the solution is the same. Cut what does not belong. Separate what strengthens you from what weakens you. And that requires courage, because cutting does not always hurt less, but it almost always heals more. Now, between May 26th and May 31st, there is a very important turning point. The Stork card appears bringing change. And here this change is not only external, it begins inside you. You will feel a very strong need to reorganize your life, to change your planning, to review the way you handle certain situations. As if suddenly you realize, I need to live this differently. I need to be lighter. I need to stop repeating the same patterns. I need to stop being so severe with myself. There is a change of mentality, a silent liberation. You begin to realize that part of the weight you were carrying was created by the way you were seeing your own life, by rigidity, by self-pressure, by the need to control everything. And now you begin to let that go. You begin to understand that being strong does not mean being hard all the time, that maturity is also knowing how to breathe, also knowing how to make mistakes, also knowing how to begin again. This change helps a lot. It does not harm. It improves your energy, improves your relationships, improves your peace. Because when the mind changes, the whole life responds. Maybe today, hearing this, you still think, this does not sound like me. This does not feel like my reality. But when the date arrives, you will recognize it. You will notice it. You will understand it. Because some changes first feel strange and later become freedom. And May closes this phase exactly like that, teaching you that the greatest new beginning is not changing places. It is changing the way you live inside yourself. Now the energy moves more strongly into your health, practical finances, and also professional opportunities. And here, there is a very important observation about your body, especially this area: eyes, nose, ears, and this whole part of the head that seems small. But when it becomes uncomfortable, it takes over everything. Spirituality calls your attention to this. It does not appear as something serious. It is not a prediction of fear. It is a prediction of adjustment, of observation, of prevention. You may feel more frequent headaches, sensitivity in the eyes, visual exhaustion, irritation caused by too much screen time, discomfort connected to breathing, sinus issues, allergies, or even that pressure in the head that seems small at first but slowly becomes exhausting. And here the message is simple: observe. Do not ignore small signs. Sometimes it is not something big. It is just too much phone, too little rest, poor sleep, too much stress, too much noise, too little pause. But when all of that accumulates, the body responds. The garden card appears showing exactly that. Simple adjustments bring great improvements. You do not need to enter fear. You need to enter care. Maybe sleep better, maybe reduce stimulation, maybe do simple exams, maybe change small routines that seem insignificant but make a huge difference. Healing is not always something grand. Sometimes healing is rest. Now, speaking about money, the energy brings something very positive: negotiation. The heart card appears here, showing people being more open with you, more understanding, more generous. It may be family, it may be someone helping you, but for many, it appears more strongly as people from outside. Someone with whom you need to close something: a purchase, a payment plan, a negotiation, a special condition, a financial agreement. And this person shows themselves to be more flexible than you expected, more willing to understand, more open to making things easier. As if somehow doors begin opening exactly where you thought you would find rigidity. And here the advice is: know how to talk, know how to ask, know how to negotiate. Because many times the opportunity exists, but the person says nothing, does not ask, does not try, and loses it. You will notice who is more open with you. And when you notice it, use it wisely, without abuse, without impulsiveness, but with intelligence. Because this openness can bring great relief to your financial life this month. Now, there is also an important warning. Be careful with banks, companies, and financial promises, especially internet companies, contracts, services, and things involving expectations of delivery. You may feel that some company promised something and did not deliver, or that what seemed to be one way in reality is completely different. And that creates frustration because it affects your money, it affects your organization, or it affects your trust. Here the Lily card asks for something difficult but necessary: patience, because dealing with certain companies requires exactly that: calm, persistence, emotional control. It will not be something solved through impulse, but it will be solved. The important thing is avoiding making the problem bigger. If a situation like this already exists, try not to create new ones. Read contracts, observe promises, be more careful before closing any new agreement, because prevention here is worth much more than repair. Now, for those looking for new work, there is an important message. Do not lose motivation at the beginning of the month, especially in the first half. Everything may seem more blocked. Few answers, few openings, little return. The feeling that nothing moves, but this changes. The stork card appears again, showing a turning point. Movement, change. What seemed still begins to move. That opportunity that did not exist appears. That answer that never came finally arrives. That contact that seemed lost returns. So the spiritual message here is keep going, keep searching, keep sending, keep maintaining contact, because movement is coming, especially after the first half of the month. This is not a month for giving up. It is a month for persistence. And that makes all the difference. Because sometimes people quit exactly 1 week before the door opens. And May does not want you to do that. It wants you to continue until you see the change happen. Now we enter the most intense part of your reading, love. And here there is a very strong energy of instability at the beginning and a major turning point at the end. That is why, if at the start of the month you feel like everything seems confusing, do not treat that as a final answer. Because May for you clearly divides itself into two parts, the first half of the month and the second half, and they are almost opposites. Let's begin by talking about an ex, as always. If there is someone from the past occupying space inside your heart, or if you feel there is still something unresolved between you, the answer is clear. This person cares about you. There is feeling, there is connection, there is a bond, but there is also a lot of inconsistency. The child card appears showing exactly that. A person who wants but loses focus. A person who feels but delays. A person who thinks about acting but leaves it for later. It is someone who does not necessarily not want it. In truth, they do. But they do not sustain focus. They do not maintain consistency. They do not take action at the right time. It is like a child who starts playing a game and quickly gets distracted by something else. That energy appears very strongly here. This person cares about you, but their mind is not fully organized enough to act firmly. They get distracted, they get lost, they postpone, they emotionally procrastinate. And that can make you think, does this person really want this? The answer is yes, but wanting and acting are two different things. That is why spirituality asks for caution. Do not suffer thinking it is lack of feeling. It is not. It is lack of direction, lack of decision, lack of emotional maturity at this moment. So do not panic. Do not exhaust yourself trying to force something that still needs time. Observe, stay grounded. You do not need to chase. You do not need to take sides. Just notice. Because this is temporary. In the future, yes, there is possibility of movement, but right now there is still too much emotional distraction from this person. Now, speaking about your love life as a whole, there is a reality that needs to be faced. You carry disappointments. The person you love has already had attitudes that disappointed you, or will. But in most cases, this has already happened. You look at certain attitudes and think, how far is this worth it? How far does this still make me feel good? How far should I continue insisting? This applies both to those already in a relationship and to those waiting for someone to take action. Sometimes it is someone with whom you never had anything, but you wanted that person to position themselves, to take initiative, to show more. And that does not happen the way it should. That absence also disappoints because frustrated expectations also hurt. But here a very beautiful card appears. The bouquet, and the bouquet brings change. Change of behavior, change of attitude, an apology, an offer of peace, reconciliation, reconnection. What seemed blocked begins to change. What seemed lost begins to breathe again. Here there is a very strong energy of someone trying to correct something, not always with words, because everyone apologizes in their own way. Some people clearly say, I am sorry, and others show it. They become kinder, they get closer, they change their actions, they try to rebuild, without using the word apology. And you will notice that. Because for those who understand well, half a word is enough. If someone hurt you, if someone made a mistake, there is a real chance that this person will try to reorganize things with you. If you are single, there is also change. You may begin the month feeling discouraged, thinking no one is worth it, thinking everyone is the same, thinking nothing will happen. And then life changes your perception. Someone appears or someone changes. Or you simply begin seeing things differently, as if something opened the sea in the middle of your path, a reversal, a change that seemed unlikely. And here that is good, very good, because you begin the month thinking the story will end one way and finish realizing it will be completely different. This appears very strongly. The first half feels heavy. The second half surprises you. Now there is also an important truth. You want someone you can trust. You want someone to share good things with. You want someone who feels like peace, presence, companionship. You want love, but you want security, because there is emotional exhaustion. There is fear of repeating old pain. There is fear of giving your heart and receiving disappointment back. That is why you move more slowly. You observe more, you test more, you feel before surrendering. And that is not coldness, it is maturity. The Rider card appears showing novelty, change, a new beginning. But it comes together with the need for trust. It is not enough for someone to appear. There needs to be truth. There needs to be construction, especially for those already in a relationship. Here, there is a very strong energy of repair. The person changes, the attitudes change. What caused damage begins to be rebuilt. There is a request for peace. There is an attempt to improve. There is a real turning point. And for those who are single, this change happens more in your vision of love. You begin to believe again. You begin to allow again. You begin to realize that maybe there is still someone capable of living something beautiful with you. The tarot closes your reading with two powerful cards, the Hermit and the Empress, and they are opposites. The Hermit speaks of withdrawal, of loneliness, of someone who closed themselves because they were hurt. The Empress speaks of expansion, of value, of presence, of someone who begins to bloom again. And that is exactly your path in May. You begin more closed, more suspicious, more distant, and you end more open, lighter, more willing to live, more aware of your own value. You leave isolation and return to your own strength. And that may be the greatest prediction of all, because when someone begins to believe in themselves again, love stops being need and becomes choice. And that is exactly where your life begins to truly change.